Kind of fast, kind of not. Either way, always running or talking about it. Welcome to the Kind of Fast podcast, powered by Upward Running. Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 29 of the Kind of Fast podcast, the show where we talk running, real life, and everything in between.
And if it feels like it's been a minute, that's because it has. We've actually been off of the mic together for about 3 weeks now. We hope you liked our 2 podcasts that were in between. I know I've heard a lot of positive feedback about both.
I have 2. Plus, it's my mom.
As one of them, yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, today we're going to kick things off with a little bit of catch up because we have life updates. Office updates. It looks a little bit different in the podcast today. And then we're going to talk about a race recap and what the last couple weeks have been like for us.
Mm-hmm. In the segment that we call What Does That Even Mean? This week's phrase we're going to be talking about is foot strike. And we're breaking down what that is, the different types of that, and why there's no single correct way to run when it comes to foot strike.
Yep. And then it's officially time for the news. I feel like we haven't done the news in so
It has
long.
been a minute, yeah. For our deep dive, we're getting real about how to actually stick to your New Year running goals, how to choose the right plan, avoid burnout, and building habits that are going to last way beyond January.
All right, let's get into it. So, new office, who dis?
Yeah.
I wanted to say that so bad.
We are in a new office, and I don't think this will be the background we'll have long term if you're watching us on YouTube today. We're just in our boardroom today, but we do have a podcasting room that we've been thinking about for a while of what that might be, and it hasn't come together yet, but I think that it will in the next month or 2 on that. So we're just kind of making it work until then.
We're going to keep you on your toes with our backdrops. We should change our backdrop every time.
Yeah, just record it from a different room each time here.
We should get a tour of the office.
But we're real proud of the new office we have here. I think it's the right size, right place for us as a ministry here at Upward Sports. It's been a long time coming, and so it's been a fun thing to be a part of. You know, I've been designing some of the graphics that's in here and putting together some of that stuff that tells the story of who Upward is. And so it's been fun to kind of see it all come to fruition.
I couldn't agree more. It's absolutely beautiful. And if you're ever in Spartanburg, come on and see us.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So as Travis mentioned, we did have 2 guests on our show. We hope that you guys enjoyed them as much as we did. I think we've both gotten really good feedback. And if you haven't checked them out, we invite you to go look in the archive.
They were great. For two very different podcasts. So you led one with your mom. Give a brief rundown of what you guys talked about there.
Running and faith, and how running just kind of shapes her faith.
Yeah, I thought it was great. She had so many great lines because she is an Upward Running member about connections to Coach Dean and some of the things she'd heard on the podcast and was able to apply in her life. I really enjoyed that conversation you guys had.
Well, thanks. And then your conversation with Drew went really well.
Yeah.
I learned a ton. Even listening and editing it the second time, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good. Like your bruised shins.
Yeah, that's just a memory that I have. That's how it is in my mind anyway. Like it's one of those that maybe has become, a story that's grown over the years. But I remember I had shin splints so bad in college, and I literally think that I can't take Advil now. It has no effect on me anymore because I was taking so many of them that season just to get over these shin splints. And I think I remember that my shins literally bruised up and down because it was so bad that year.
That is crazy.
Yeah. But, the conversation with Drew, if you haven't heard it, he is a doctor of physical therapy. He specializes with a lot of running patients here in the upstate of South Carolina. And we kind of broke down the most common running injuries he sees, how to rehab or prehab from those, and a lot of great information. Someone even reached out and said, "Hey, are you going to do more of that?" And so maybe we'll have Drew back at some point in time.
Yeah, shout out Drew.
Yep.
Okay, so we're officially in a new year.
Yep. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of look back on last year and just kind of see where we ended from a Strava standpoint. Like I see what you finished off. And I thought I'd ask you a few questions here. So let me pull out some notes since you have not seen these here. All right. So who do you think had more Strava activities in 2025, you or I?
Me.
You did 297 activities
Wow.
to my 210 last year.
Wow. I
Yeah.
could beat you by more than I thought.
Crushed me. Totally. Who do you think ran more miles last year, you or I?
That was a really close one because I was trying to keep up with it. So ultimately, I think you won the mileage at the end of the day.
Yeah, I got off to a slow start for the year when I had a stress fracture, and I was slowly catching you the whole time. And we thought you were going to beat me,
Yeah.
but in the end, 1,334 for you, 1,421 for me. So got you.
Wait, when did you pull these stats?
These are literally for the year. They are Jan 1 to December 31st.
Wow.
So we're already into the new year. This does not include anything we've done since then. So there's that. I did go back and look. 988 the year before for you. So that's a great jump from 2024 to 2025. 685 the year before for you. So you've been on a steady incline. And what we say is that all of that works together. So the work you did in 2023, running 685 miles, still counts today. You're still able to take that out when you come to a race, because all that matters, all that comes together. That consistency you've been building really has come together. So I did get you in mileage, but I wanted to note that I see the progression. I really like it.
Thank you. It was my longest and fastest running year.
I would say that for sure. Yeah. Elevation was an easy stat for me to pull from Strava. Who do you think ran more hills in 2025?
I want to say me, just because my neighborhood's nuts.
Okay. So you ran 54,812 feet of elevation.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot.
That does sound like a lot.
I ran 84,980. So how hilly is your neighborhood versus mine?
Apparently not very.
Mine is literally called Hillbrook. So that's how you get a lot of that there. Yeah.
Dang it.
Okay. Who had more segment records? Who currently owns more segment records, you or I, on Strava?
I'm going to say you, just because you're faster. It makes more sense.
You have 2.
Okay.
And I have 2.
We're
tied. Yours, I thought, was interesting. Allison and Claire Run Up the Hill was one of them. And the other one's called Another Run Bites the Dust.
Oh, that's right by my or the soccer fields by the house.
Yeah.
Wait, what are yours?
So I have one in Florida.
Oh, that's not fair.
And I have one in North Carolina. I have none in my home state of South Carolina.
Wow.
So there we go.
You need to go Strava sniping. That's why I asked, so I could.
Yeah, I think I will go Strava sniping on Allison and Claire Run Up the Hill. I think that'd be fun.
Jeremiah is so close to beating me. I mean, he's literally seconds away from beating me.
I did see on both of yours, you are the overall course record, male and female.
Hey.
I don't know if I am on mine or not, but I did notice on yours you were. All right, so before we close this out, and we don't want this podcast to be crazy long, but what would you say is your best moment running in 2025?
Ooh, I'm going to say, can I have 2?
Sure.
Okay, best running moment, 2025, Sphinx Marathon, half marathon. Let me clarify. PR.
Okay.
And then, oh no, that was in 2026. Okay, the turkey trot.
Okay, the turkey, yeah.
Yeah, because I had a strong race after really not training a ton before that, so I felt good.
And you ran a maybe 5K PR there.
Yeah,
maybe. Which we should get. Let's. I don't think this was on your notes today. You've run a race recently since we've talked.
I did.
Tell us while we're here. Tell us about that.
Okay, so since my whole maybe 5K PR at the turkey trot, I think it was 22:43. That obviously did not count. So I needed a race that counted. It
was debatable whether it counted or not. Dean and Mitchell had other opinions. I had opinions. think you fell on the side that if it wasn't an official 5K, you weren't going to count it,
Right.
which is the right answer. But now, what'd you do in this race?
Yeah, so on New Year's Day, actually, it's a race I run every single year. Absolutely love the race. I ran the New Year's Day 5K and I ran a 22:43.
On the nose.
On the nose, the literal exact same time as the turkey trot. So not only was it redemption, but it was kind of a hilly course. So it challenged me, but I still ran a 22:43. I got first in my age group, which is the first time that's ever happened in this race. And I finally, I tried to beat her 3 years in a row. I finally beat the girl that's beat me every single time.
Okay. Do you want to call out her name?
Not yet.
I probably wouldn't do that either. But anyway, congratulations on the official 5K PR.
Thank you.
On that. And I think one of my comments going back to the turkey trot was, this proves you're ready to run a 5K PR. You just have to go do it. Now you have officially done it. So that's amazing. Good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right. We got sidetracked a little bit. What is your best running moment of 2020?
Well, it has to be my marathon in Columbus, where I ran the Boston qualifying time, which was a goal that I'd been working towards for 7 years. So that one might be the best running moment of the decade when the decade ends. But that would be it for me.
I love it. I love it. All right. That is can we officially tie a bow on 2025 now?
Yeah, I think that's it's been a great running year, I think, for both of us, where we've seen improvement, where we've trusted the process, which is probably a term you'll hear me say again later in the podcast, and we've seen the fruit of all that work.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You hear the drum roll. It's time to move on to our segment. What does that even mean? And this week's phrase is foot strike.
Yep. Foot strike is how and where your foot first hits the ground when you run. And there are 3 main types of foot strikes. There's a heel strike. So if you are watching, you're coming down on the back of your foot there. That's a heel strike. There is a midfoot strike, obviously in the middle, and a forefront strike.
What are you?
Oh, I'm a heel. I would love to say that I'm a midfoot, but the shoe wear pattern on my foot would say otherwise. Yeah.
Okay, so a few common misconceptions about foot strike is that there's no single correct foot strike for every runner. So everyone is different. And a good way to find that out, I'm so glad you mentioned the bottom of your shoe, is you can look at the sole of your shoe where it's running out and tell where exactly you're striking.
Yeah, it's once you put enough miles in, it'll be evident where you are hitting there. So if you're a forefront striker, you'll have no wear and tear on the heel of your shoe, and everything will be kind of on the ball of your shoe there. I've had friends that are forefront strikers, and you see it that way. But for most commonly, a heel strike is what most runners have. It's not bad. It's not the fastest way to move through space. That's why sprinters tend to be more of a forefront striker, because you can kind of get up on your toes and move more quickly. And it seems to me, watching a lot of professional races, that professional distance runners seem like they're more midfoot strikers, just because they're moving their feet a little more quickly. One thing that I think, as it relates to heel striking, that is something to comment on here is, the more tired you become, the more pronounced this can become. And so what you see a lot of times, like in a longer distance, and this can be any distance, if you haven't ever done a 10K before and you're doing your first 10K, this can apply there, or in the half marathon, and beyond. But what happens is you start leaning back even further as a heel striker, the more tired you become, and you hit even further back on the heel than maybe you did in the past. And that'll make you slower later in the race, is because you're not leaning forward and you're not really moving fast that direction as much anymore. But you'll just notice that a lot of time with a heel striker, is they start leaning backwards even more as they get more and more tired.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learned something new just now.
Tell us about midfoot and forefront striking, and a couple comments there.
Okay, so midfoot strike is literally exactly what it is. It's more it's in your midfoot. And a lot of people, this is kind of where you want to be. This is where you just said you strive to be. I will never, ever be a midfoot strike person. I'm definitely a heel striker as well. But being a midfoot striker helps you really like reduce the braking forces. And to your point, it helps you move faster through space. And then the arch, actually, I made this note, the arch is used to absorb impact, which I think would help so many runners just with their overall ligaments and bones not hurt as much.
Yeah. When you get into and you can note forefront here in a second, but when you get into forefront, you actually use like a certain set of muscles only when you're hitting in the forefront of your foot. And with any of these, it can make you more, uh, you may have an injury in a certain way because of the way you strike potentially. But a midfoot, I think actually, you're actually still absorbing everything with the full of your foot basically, but you're quickly transitioning to your toes, which can make you a more faster, quicker runner as it relates to that. So that's why I think midfoot is the ideal situation for a distance runner.
And then you have the forefoot strike. So this is really common in sprinting. It puts more stress on your calves and your Achilles. And it's not ideal for most distance runners without like adapting a bunch of stuff because of that.
Yep. I have a longtime friend named Ian that is a forefront striker, great marathoner, broke 3 in the marathon a year or 2 ago. And he went and saw a running gait specialist because it was putting so much pressure on certain things. So they didn't change his forefront striking, but they did some things with his stride to help alleviate some of the pressure he was putting on by being a forefront striker there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and now there's a few other things that come with foot strikes.
Yeah. So as we're talking about foot strike, I just think it's important to also note some people might talk about overpronation, underpronation, and neutral striking as well. What we really were trying to talk about is like literally where you are hitting the ground, heel, mid, or forefront. When you talk about those other ones, overpronation means that your feet kind of lean in towards the arch. Underpronation would mean that your weight kind of goes away from your arch or outside, and neutral's kind of in the middle. And so I think that it's just a note that might also be discussed when you're talking about foot strikes there. I've read an article that said that overpronation and underpronation aren't really a thing. It's something used to sell you more shoes. And I think it makes a compelling argument that, who decides who's an overpronator or underpronator? Like at what point in time are you that? Because everyone kind of overpronates naturally. It's just a way that your foot is constructed because your arch is there. It's not like your foot is completely flat to start with. So what that article said was just go buy neutral shoes and you'll be fine, which I think is an interesting take on that.
Yeah, it really is because I am obviously a sucker for running accessories, and shoes are a huge accessory. So if someone told me, "Oh, you need this type of shoe because you overpronate," I mean, sold.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they'll get you on a treadmill and might put a camera on you, and it's easy to see what they're talking about. Oh, I can see that I'm leaning in, but this article would say, hey, it doesn't matter that you're doing that. That's natural, and a natural shoe will be fine as well.
Well, the key takeaway here is that the best foot strike is the one that works for you and your body and that keeps you running long term.
Yeah, and you don't need to change the way your foot strikes. Or if you do feel like there is a problem there are people out there like a Drew Maccabee we had on last week who specialize in gait analysis and can help you safely do that. But if you're just trying to do it on your own, that is you might end up injured in that situation. So be buyer beware on that stuff.
Good advice there. We are going to kick 2026 off with the news. And our very first news story is about Shelly Houlihan.
Or Shelby.
Shelby. Golly. That wasn't even a hard name, and I still got it wrong. Shelby Houlihan, otherwise known as the Burrito Band Girl.
Yeah, she's been one that I followed for a long time, and one of the ones that I have the hardest time with today. but tell us why.
Yeah, so she was a 2016 Olympian, a 13-time U.S. champion. I mean, she was absolutely a star runner. However, in December of 2020, she tested positive for a banned substance and she was put on a 4-year ban. Now, people call her the burrito ban girl because she claims that she got this substance from a pork burrito, and
Hmm.
so she is just forever gonna be known as a burrito band girl.
Yeah, that substance is naturally found in pork at certain levels. It wouldn't ever put you over the legal limit from a drug testing standpoint unless that animal was injected with certain things. It's an unlikely story, but that's a story she's got, and that's a story she's sticking with.
Yeah, so in result of that, she missed 4 years of competition in 2 different Olympic Games. She just became eligible again in early 2025 to race again, and she's done really well. I mean, she's
Hmm.
still a very skilled runner. However, she's in the news today because she just ran her first trail race debut, and she absolutely killed it.
Yes, she ran the Christensen Trail Run in Phoenix, Arizona. And so this was a race that was 14 miles. It had 508 meters of elevation. We always talk about these things in feet. We're talking about it in meters here and in the next story there, but it's very technical desert terrain. She ended up running 134.12. And she did that averages out to be a 6:47 per mile race pace on trails. Very hard to do there. And she took the overall win, not just her age group win. And so, girl power on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I if she's clean, sure, let's do it. And that's my main question here is that she is still such an incredible runner. She obviously has talent as seen here, but will her past always follow her? I mean, just will she ever move past the burrito band scandal?
Yeah, I don't think she ever will. She's here's why I say I have such a problem with her. She was one of my favorites before the band. Like she is one of these that when she ran the 1500, like you needed to try to run the legs out of her because she had the best kick, like this devastating kick, the last 200 that would always seem to come out with the win. And that was just fun to watch. Like you just like what is she going to do on the last lap of this race? And then she has this band, and with almost every other professional runner out there, if you ever test positive, I'm done with you forever. I'll never be a fan again. I have a hard time with Shelby because I really like her, but I still kind of lean that way with her too. Anyway, she has claimed that she's innocent throughout all of this, and so we'll just kind of see where it goes. But will she ever get away from that? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But anyways, moving on. So we talked about the trails. Now we're going to talk about the treadmill, and I'm going to bring back the word Everesting. And I know it's so like I had to Google that word to make sure it was an actual thing. But apparently, Everesting is when you try to run or hike, walk, whatever you want to do, Mount Everest, but on a treadmill.
Yeah, so the elevation gain of what is Mount Everest, you're trying to do that on something that's not Mount Everest.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So it doesn't really count. But, anyways, for Tyler Andrews, he just set a world record Everesting on a treadmill on December 21st. He competed this Everesting adventure, and his vertical gain was 8,848 meters. And he did this on a treadmill at a 20% incline. And it took him 8 hours and 17 minutes on a treadmill.
Yeah, at a 20% incline. Go to your local club, a workout club and put the treadmill on as high as it'll go because it might not even go to 20% and then see how long you could go. That's pretty incredible.
It's insane. And he actually beat the world record by 39 minutes. So that, I mean, he didn't just beat it by a little bit. That's a substantial amount.
Yeah. Took him 27.75 miles at that 20% incline to make it to the top, to get that elevation gain, and no breaks.
Awful.
Yeah, that's no downhills in this situation. You're just going up, 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 up. His quads have to be like just massive and on fire. Yes.
So the funny thing about this Tyler guy is that he's actually tried to compete at the actual Mount Everest twice, and he has failed both times. However, he's just announced that he's going to go try again, but he's going to attack it from a different location, I guess.
Okay.
A different side. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it is.
Yeah, so he's going to be trying to do it again without supplemental oxygen. So they have these records, which I've seen in the past. They have like the record with oxygen and then the record of like no oxygen. I'm just going straight up to the top, which can be pretty dangerous there because there's not much oxygen up there at the top. But they're targeting Killian Jornet's 2017 record of 26 hours of going from the base camp to the summit without oxygen. So this will be his third attempt on this one, but the first from the Tibetan side of the mountain.
So we'll see. We'll see how he does. He's actually done 2 other mountainous expeditions that he's set records on. Kilimanjaro is the first one, and probably one of the ones I knew second to Everest. And then the third one that he did was Manzaloo.
Sure.
Yeah, Manzaloo. If my mom's listening to this, she's a history teacher. She's
Manaslu.
Manaslu.
Maybe.
Anyways, he's done those. He's about to go attack Mount Everest again, so I will keep you guys updated on how that goes for him.
I don't even know why I gave you that soundbite. Like, we're both probably wrong, but I could have stayed out of it and not said anything. One of my favorite things about this podcast is when you mispronounce things. I don't want to start mispronouncing things.
I'm going to put it in slow-mo, too.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next subject.
Okay, I saw this article, and honestly, I don't really know how I feel about it, other than that it's from the Marie Claire magazine, and I have my name on it, so I'm like, okay, let's do this. But the reporter talked about how 2025 saw the record amount of participation in races, marathons, and run clubs worldwide. I mean, the London Marathon just hit a world record for the most amount of finishers. New York just hit a record for the most amount of finishers. So running is truly just kind of sweeping the nation.
Yeah, we talked about Strava, you and I, earlier. You know, they tripled year over year as far as what they have as members there, showing the demand of the community. Speaking of Strava, we have an Upward Running group on Strava. If you ever want to search that and be part of that group, I think Dean mentioned on the Upward Running podcast this week that over 600 members are there, and he loves to check out the leaderboard there. So that's something you can do too, free of cost. Just join in on the Upward Running Strava group sometime.
Yeah, great plug there. I love Strava. I think Rufus is in first place.
Oh,
right now.
No, I would expect that. Rufus, who lives on my side of town, crazy man, listens to the podcast. Saw him this morning. But yeah, that guy runs a lot of miles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out Rufus being in first. But anyways, this article then talks about that the sport's popularity has introduced like unintended consequences. The first one is, speaking of being fast, is an obsession with speed. So there's been kind of a shift from can I finish to how can I optimize every single second of every single one of my runs. And I have personally struggled with this. But
is that a problem?
I think it's two-sided. I really do.
I mean, the great thing about running is, yes, it is a competition versus others, but who cares? It's a competition with yourself. And how do you evaluate yourself today versus yourself at other times? It is the time that it takes to run any of these individual races. So, obsession with speed. Yeah, I got it too. Yeah, that's I think that's real. And now, are people cutting corners or something like that? Maybe, and that's not a good thing. But overall, trying to be the best version of yourself, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, I can see that too. The next one we're going to talk about really quick is that there is a myth that running is the cheapest sport that you could ever start. And that is false. We have mentioned that before, and that is 100% false. The article actually reported that beginners are spending over $1,000 to start these days.
Yeah, don't let that detract you if you're thinking about getting into the sport. But there is things like running shoes and running watches and running coaching and plans and things like that do cost some things. I I don't know that I spend $1,200 on gear and support for me. If you included me flying to races to run the Columbus Marathon as an example, I would exceed that. But if you take that out, even me who runs a lot of miles and spends a lot of time on the sport, I don't know that I hit 1,200.
Okay, the takeaway here is that running doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't require a perfect kit. You don't have to have the newest, latest, and greatest. Just show up, run.
But it is more fun with great shoes and a great kit. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move right along to our deep dive of the week, and that is how to stick to your New Year's running goals. I know that with the new year comes a lot of different resolutions, and that actually brings us to our very first one is don't call it a resolution. Call it a goal. Travis and I were talking about this over Christmas break, actually, and he had some really good things to say about the differences between a resolution and a goal.
And I'm sure that I stated it better then than I will now, but I think that resolutions, they come and they go so quickly. The average resolution is already lost by the second Friday of January. I heard that on the morning news a day or two ago. So by the time this comes out, most people will be ending their resolution by that date, I believe. So I think that's the second Friday of the month already. So and most of them are way too aspirational. I think you need to think about what is a new discipline that I can step into? What is a new process that I can step into? How can I change my lifestyle to what I want it to be moving forward? Nick Saban always says, outcomes are a distraction. Trust the process. That's what we need to do here. Motivation can come and go, but if you get in the habit of getting up in the morning and getting a few miles in, then that can continue. You don't need to have the rah-rah speech of the David Goggins, get out there, get the miles done. If that's what's motivating you today, it's not going to last. You have to have that internal drive to build a process, build a lifestyle, a discipline moving forward, and do something that you can stick to. Don't be so crazy aspirational that it's never going to happen. Consistency is what matters here.
That was great. Do you have a New Year's goal?
For me, from a running standpoint, no. I did a really good job for the mid part of the year. So if you think the 6 months in the middle of the year last year of eating much more healthy, more of a whole foods diet and that kind of thing. And so I want to get back to that while not being extreme about it. And so I felt good. But with the holidays and all, and post marathon, I got way away from that. So I would think for me, it's more about the inputs of food than it is kind of a running goal this year.
You need to start that after your birthday.
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah.
Okay, number 2 is choose the right plan for you. There are a ton of different voices that you can listen to when it comes to picking a training plan, but it's so important to find the right plan for you. Specifically, if you are a beginner or just starting out, I wouldn't recommend starting with an advanced 5K training plan.
Sure.
Don't do it.
Even if you were a former high school runner or college runner, or you've done a marathon in the past, that doesn't mean that's where you are today. Jump into something that is appropriate for your current fitness level and grow from there. This should be a long-term thing. You don't have to get that Boston qualifier in the next 12 weeks, right? Or you don't have to run that big PR by July 4th this year. We can work towards those things with consistency and not get hurt along the way, and do it in a way that I'm not going to be burnt out or move on to a different goal right away because this one was too hard. Know where you are and start where you are.
Yep. And for anybody who's listening who might be on the fence, our Couch to Marathon program actually kicks off on Monday, and we're hosting a kickoff call on Sunday night. So this would be Sunday, January 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And this is a call for anybody. If you've joined the program, if you haven't joined the program, it's going to be a live time with Coach Dean and myself. We're going to answer questions, go through kind of what the program looks like, what you can expect. We're going to have a giveaway. So you should join.
Yeah. to be clear, because I think we have not always been clear on this in the past. You can start the Calcium Marathon program any Monday. Like our plans start on Mondays always. It's just that's when runners week start. But it can start on any Monday. But if you want to do it with a group of people nationwide that's also doing it at the same time, it starts next Monday.
Yeah.
So technically the following Monday. Next week is kind of a recruit and walk week, I think is what it is. It's kind of ease into it. But if you're just hearing this now, you can get started on that nationwide group for sure here soon. The other thing I would say is if the Calcium Marathon feels like, man, that sounds cool, but I don't know if I can actually do it, just know our plan builds on itself. So you kind of start with working your way to a 5K, then you work your way to a 10K, then you work your way to a half marathon, and then you finish up with a full. And so if any point in time the mileage or the work just becomes like, ooh, I feel like I need to hang out here for a while, then you can jump into another say 10K plan or another 5K plan and try to get faster at that and kind of stabilize there. And you don't have to see necessarily the whole couch to marathon all the way through, although that is quite an achievement and it would be amazing if you did do that.
Yeah, love it. Okay, number 3 is listen to your body early and not after you are hurt. So pushing through all the pain just to kind of check your box leads to injury and it leads to burnout as well. So small aches and pains don't just kind of magically disappear when they're ignored. So my advice here would be to listen to your body. However, there's a caveat because you have a little bit of soreness. That doesn't mean you just go skip your run.
Correct. Yeah, soreness is natural, especially if you're doing something for the first time. But even if you've been doing it a long time, you might have soreness along the way. The thing that I've said here before, and Drew confirmed as a doctor of physical therapy, is a pain scale. If you think of it from 0 to 10, if that pain is 3 or less, generally you can continue. If you feel like if you give an honest assessment and it's more than a 3, then you need to take some time off or go seek some professional help to kind of figure out what's going on there.
That's great. Okay, moving on to number 4, and that is prioritize consistency over intensity. So consistency beats intensity every single time. And can I just get a round of applause because those are hard words to say in the same sentence, and I did it twice. I mean, come on, guys. But seriously, a common trap is that you start strong, you miss time, and then you jump back in way too hard. You're gonna get hurt.
Yep, been there, done that. I've lived that life before where I thought, well, I'm a former high school and college runner. I'll just jump back in. I know what structured training looks like and then, get injured. So learn from my mistakes and avoid them and start where you are and just try to build that consistency over time.
Okay, moving on to number 5. Progress a little bit slower than you think you should. So your cardio improves faster than your bones, joints, and tendons kind of get used to running. So
Hmm.
and this really goes back to the next or the last 2 points actually, is to start off like too fast, too soon.
Yeah. And so sometimes, you know, it takes your body a while to learn to adapt to take the pounding that running is going to put on your body. Maybe longer than even it takes you to like, all right, I'm not breathing as hard as I was a few weeks ago. I must be really coming along. And what we're trying to say here is that you are coming along. You are seeing that progress. That's great. Don't feel like you got to be on the edge of that at all times. It's okay just to hang out where you are from a fitness standpoint because other things like your bones and your tendons, they are building their resilience over time as well. And I think it's good just to look at this from a long range view. I think that's the main thing there.
Yep. Okay, and then we've got 2 more to share with you guys. Number 6 is to treat warm-ups as non-negotiable, and Travis could not disagree more with this. But I'm telling you, now that I am getting older, if I don't do and I'm not talking about an extravagant warm-up. I'm just talking about 2 to 3 minutes of just trying to warm up my bones and my joints. My chiropractor even has me walk backwards for, I mean, like 30 to 60 steps to warm up whatever keeps going out on my back. But y'all, do it. Don't listen to Travis.
Well, there's different levels of this. So if I'm doing a hard workout, like what I would call a quality workout, I'm always doing a warm up. That is absolutely a non-negotiable. I'm not going to jump into running hard 400s, out of the car when I get to the track. So that's not going to happen. But if I'm going out for an easy recovery 5-mile run or something like that, I'm just going out at an easy pace. I'm not doing anything extra on that. That's me personally. But I think Claire's advice is sound advice here. There's nothing that can go there's no bad things that can come from having a warm up. The only bad things can come if you don't do it, I suppose. And so that's I understand that what we're trying to be is real here. I don't do warm-ups all the time. I'm being real about the fact that I don't do warm-ups all the time. And hey, that's where I'm at on things. And maybe I should be better.
I just recently started to do this more because I was sidelined for I think a week and a half with intense pain, and my chiropractor's like, Claire, you're getting older. Like, you got to do this. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least is to add strength and cross training to your running plan to kind of stay healthy. This can also help improve speed. I know that you just had experience with this, adding strength training to your overall plan, right?
Yeah. In the sense that I'm kind of on the last one, I'm like full in on this. I think that the health of the last year and a half of what I haven't had any soft tissue injuries in quite some time. And that was my problem previously. And I would attribute all of that to doing some strength-based stuff all the time. So I try to do two lifting workouts each week. And I haven't been as consistent over the holidays, but getting back on it here in January. And so I attribute a lot of the success of being able to stay consistent running to the strength workout that I'm doing. And if you're over 40, you got to be doing it anyway. Everyone says it. So it's just a part of life that what you should be doing.
And with that, our time is up. Don't forget that this podcast is powered by Upward Running, a community built to help you run with purpose, stay motivated, and find your people. As always, this journey is more than miles. God is in every step. The good runs, the tough days, the quiet moments, it all matters to Him. He is with you, He is for you, and He is using this season to grow something inside of you.
Yep, at Upward Running, this is where faith and fitness meet, and we'd love to run with you. You can join us at upwardrunning.com/kindofast. That's upwardrunning.com/kindofast. And I feel like we were kind of heavy on the marketing this week. It's because it's Couch to Marathon, Couch to 5K starting next week. That's not always going to be the case. It's not an infomercial podcast always, but it is a big time for people to sign up for the programming that we have out there. Lots of people are signing up every day right now. Hundreds per week we're getting right now to sign up for Upward Running. So come join us and do it through the Kind of Fast code. And if you do that, you get 2 weeks free. And we would really appreciate knowing that you signed up because you heard about it on the podcast.
Yep, we'll be back next Friday with another episode.
Yep, and if your name is David or if your name is Jessica, can you do us a favor? Can you leave us a review? We are climbing the rankings of the top running podcasts in the U.S., and so much of that algorithm is based on the reviews. It's not just about listeners, and we appreciate all the listeners we get, and that is part of the algorithm. But a lot of the algorithm is how engaged are people and how often are people writing reviews about it. So if you're out there, please write us a review. But if your name's David or Jessica, I'm specifically talking to you.
All right, David. All right, Jessica. Don't let us down.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
The big takeaway here is that I don't like that first one. What is the big takeaway?
I don't even know if we need a big takeaway.
We don't.
Okay. It's a great we should probably cut this.
It wasn't me this time.